Why you should back to normal schedule. Yes, me telling you stuff from anecdotes of my life every Wednesday at during Wednesday. Yes. All right. Today we're going to talk about events and socializing, which are terrible, terrible subjects, but we should definitely talk about them because I've been growing in that field, let's call it that, during the last year or so, and it really showed itself very well during my stay at MIT at the summer workshop that I just came back from. So what the hell am I talking about? I don't love leaving the house. I don't love socializing. I consider myself an introvert. I'm not a big socializer. I have no problem doing that. I'm very good with people. I want to believe that I'm a friendly person and that I am fine talking with people. But it does drain my energy and I do feel very tired afterwards, and I don't really want to do that too much. I don't hugely enjoy going out every day or every night or even every weekend. I don't do that as much. But during the last year or so, I've been doing that more and more. But it's much more specific. It's not going out with the guys, which I still do, or at least I should do a little bit more. But it's going to specific events. And what I'm talking about, not only industry-wise, in terms of what I want to do in my life, the work that I do, which is making games, but also in terms of hobbies. And the hobby that I'm going to talk about is actually board games. I've never been a big board games player. I've always been a fan. I've always wanted to play more, but I never really had a group of friends that play board games, which is kind of the thing that gets you to play board games. Having something, I don't know if say weekly, but having a group of people to play board games with, let's say weekly. That's the thing that keeps you going, and that's how everyone keeps buying. Okay, this guy bought a game this time, and then you expand your board game library, I guess. I never had that. I really just never had that. I always wanted to try, but I never really did. And recently I also discovered a couple of events of people actually playing board games around here, but I never really went because I don't know. I don't go to these events. I don't go to these things. I'm not. It's not my thing, you know. And when I went to MIT, first of all, it's obviously a new place, and I don't want to stay in the dorms and just be on my computer. I could totally do that. I could do not even remotely doubt that I could totally do that. But I want to go outside and visit stores and visit places and meet people. I wanna do that because it's a place that I'm at. It's not really a vacation, but it is sort of it's a new place, and you want to go outside. God damn it! So I looked up online for all kinds of keywords of the area and places that would be interesting, and indie dev meetings, and also board games and other types of games and stuff like that. But we're gonna stick to the board games. And what actually got me going, it wasn't I don't know if it was fortunate, but it was a helpful little thing, was the fact that my actual dorm was terrible, terrible, in the sense that there was no air conditioning whatsoever. It was boiling hot, and it was most of the time it is much, much more pleasant outside, and when you just step in the door, you're already sweating and disgusting because it's so horrible inside the dorm room. You just can't stay there. Once the sun comes up, you got a couple of hours, and then you cannot come back until like an hour after sundown because it is really disgustingly hot. And there was actually a really nice living room, or common room, if you will. It was a nice place to stay if it was cool, but it was never cool. It was terrible. So it kind of forces you to leave the place and go outside and socialize or something. So I did, and I went, and I was lucky enough to find the MIT Strategic Games Society, Strategic Game Society, which is basically a couple of dudes playing board games. And they welcomed me. They were absolutely wonderfully nice, and I had so much fun playing with them during my stay at MIT. It was absolutely wonderful, and they introduced me to so many games because I was a total noob, and now I know a little bit better, but they introduced me to so many games, and I really had a blast with these guys. I enjoyed playing board games, and now that I'm coming back here, I am actually going to try, at least let's say once a month, go to one of these events and play board games with completely random people. It might not be the exact same experience as I had over there, obviously, but I am going to at least give it a try. And it is really just important to actually make that step and just, you don't want to and it's terrible, but then you leave the doorstep and then it's not as horrible. And then when you come back, eventually you're happy that you went. And to some of you, this might sound ridiculous or really weird, but some of you might be, yeah, totally, I go to events, I go to stuff all the time, I love socializing. But yeah, for me, it's not. And I'm assuming there's a lot of people who are like me, who just don't love leaving the house and socializing. People are really, everybody's in a bubble these days. So yeah, and you understand why everybody's completely antisocial, even though we're all on social networks. Let's not turn it into that kind of discussion. But you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is go. And more so than if you know about these events, you should totally actively seek them out. Not only hobbies such as board games, but also things of the industry. Specifically, in my case, it is making video games, indie developers, and I usually work with Unity, so Unity meetings, all kinds of stuff like that. It is so incredibly useful to go to these things. You meet people who are like-minded, who do the same thing, who are the same position as you. You get to see their work, they get to see your work, you get to comment on each other, which is always great. And who knows, you might end up working with some of these people and collaborate on specific projects. It's great. And as time goes by from these events, not all of them are great, obviously, but I keep being happier and happier and more pleased that I went to these events as time goes by, because as my connections and my friends from these events and from these things that I went to, as time goes by, I just see how wonderful it is and how happy I am that I have these friends and people that I can collaborate with going forward. So go to events. Just look for them. Actively search out events in your area of things that you want to do, of hobbies and things you're interested in, and go and do them. It is really just, it takes that switch of just get out of your ass and go and do that, because it is really, really great. And yeah, I've been growing in that sense during the last year or so, going to more and more events, and now this kind of sealed the deal. I am now an event goer, if you could say that. So yeah, that's me. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.